So this wasn't the video I was expecting to make, that's for sure, but it's the one that you're getting. Welcome back to a special edition of Life Hacks for Students. Today's topic is sick days. This is something that I'm sure a lot of students struggle with. When you get sick, it's inconvenient and can often put you behind with your classwork. In this video, I'll be covering the basics of how to care for yourself when you aren't feeling well, how to tell whether you should go to class or not, and what to do if you miss class. So, being sick is no fun. That's why you need to take care of yourself so that you can get better quicker. If you have a sore throat, I recommend avoiding dairy products and lots of processed sugar because it can make your sore throat worse. I also recommend having a warm cup of tea with honey and lemon if you can. It does a really good job of soothing the irritation and clearing out any possible mucus buildup. Make sure to keep it warm though. Cold tea doesn't have exactly the same effects, and you're really going for the soothing of the irritation here, so warm is the best option. If you don't have lemon, you don't have to add it. If you don't have honey, you don't have to add it. If you have a runny nose, try to avoid sleeping on your back at night because that allows the mucus to drain down your throat. And if you don't already have a sore throat, you will after that. Make sure to monitor how you're feeling and go to a clinic if you start to feel too badly. Next is how to tell whether you should go to class or not. If you have a fever or are throwing up, definitely do not go to class. You should be laying down and getting plenty of fluids, preferably water. But sometimes when you just have a runny nose or a sore throat, it's hard to decipher if you should just go or not. In this instance, I recommend taking your temperature to make sure you don't have a fever. If you don't, then I would see how you feel physically. If you're not exhausted or dizzy, then I would say you can go, just make sure to wear a mask. After all, whether you go to class or not isn't just about you, it's also about keeping your professor and your classmates safe as well. This is for in-person classes. If you're in an online class, then as long as you're not feeling terribly, I'd recommend trying to keep up with your work because it is hard to keep up if you miss even just a couple of days. But make sure to be mindful of how you feel and take breaks if needed. After all, this is about you. Finally, we need to cover what to do if you decide you need to miss class. The first thing to do is read your professor's attendance policy. A lot of times they will cover what they need in order to excuse your absence. So here I'm showing you an example of what I would do for an email, because I would recommend emailing your professor just as a common courtesy. Your professor doesn't need all the disgusting details about your mucus or anything like that, but if you have a fever or if you're coughing all the time, it is best to let them know things like that. Also, be sure to ask what you can do to make up for your absence. Of course, if you're feeling dizzy or feverish, I would not recommend doing any classwork until that goes away. But if you're feeling well enough, you can always try and get some work done from bed or at a table. The reason why I recommend an email of something similar to the one I'm showing you guys is because a lot of professors really prefer, or I should say appreciate, a heads up from the students that they're going to be missing out. It goes a long way in terms of your reputation and your rapport with your professor if you just let them know what's going on. So that's it from me. At the end of the day, you know your body best, so be sure to listen to it. But today we covered the bases of caring for yourself when you're sick, how to tell whether you're well enough to go to class or not, and what to do if you do not feel well enough to attend class. Every case is different, but I hope some of these tips are helpful. Take care of yourself.